Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for being here. If you're new, welcome. My name is Bvlling and I talk about everything about life. I talk about marriage, faith, lifestyle, motherhood and everything in between. That's my child. That is my child. That is what I talk about on this channel. Anyway, so I talk about faith, marriage, lifestyle, motherhood and everything in between. And if that is anything you're interested in, please do well to click the subscribe button, turn on post notifications so you know when I post a new video. I have not said that in a while and it's even wild so that I can still remember how to say it. Anyway, how are you guys doing? So today's story time. You guys know that I'm a good storyteller. If you have been here for a while, you can attest to the fact that I tell good stories. Is part from this conversation. It was not a conversation. It was a thing that happened in a secondary school in Abuja about bullying. So there was this teenage girl bullying another teenage girl. Like she was slapping her multiple times. I think it was a boy issue. And there were other people there. I think maybe they were classmates. I don't know. And she was slapping her multiple times. It was really wild. Like it was so disgusting, and everybody was just shouting, oh, this is such a wrong behavior. Obviously it's a wrong behavior, but people were just saying, oh, everybody should just teach their children at home. Everybody should just do this, do that, because if you do this to my child will not be this quiet. She'll fight back, he would fight back, blah blah blah. And I was just rolling my eyes like, yeah, right. Like half of these people that were talking were bullies as well in secondary school. Like, let's not even lie. And I feel like secondary school is the place that, because that's when you're growing up, that's when you become a teenager. That's when you choose between good and evil. So if you're going to be good, you'll be good. If you're going to be evil, you're going to be pure, full-bred evil in secondary school. Especially if you now go to a boarding school. So I went to a boarding house. So I'm going to take the story from the very beginning. The whole drama, the whole situation just made me remember things about being in boarding school. And for a fact, I didn't have it as bad. There are people that had it worse, like worse. There are people that I know that went to boarding schools and are still healing from the traumas that were caused to them in secondary school. Like, it's that bad. And now we're in our late 20s, early 30s, so you can imagine. Anyway, so here goes my story. So I think I was in primary 4. I was 8 years old in primary 4. So I'm an October baby. So school resumes in September. So if I resumed primary 4 in September, I clocked 8 in primary 4 in October. Yeah, so I clocked 8 primary 4 first time. A lot of my classmates in primary 4 went to secondary school. So if you schooled in Nigeria, you know that there's an option, especially if you are bright, there's an option to just go write common entrance in primary 4 and move to GSS1, move to secondary school like that. So normally the primary school gets to primary 6. So some people go from primary 4, some people go from primary 5, and people read all the way to primary 6 before they get to secondary school. Anyway, so some of my friends and my mom's colleagues' children went to secondary school from primary 4. But if you have been here for a while as well, my mom does not take nonsense. She's such a disciplinarian. Like, everything has to go by the book with my mom. So she was like, no, you're too tiny, you're too small, what do you want to go and do in secondary school, blah blah. So she insisted that I read primary 5, which was fine. I'll be 9 in primary 5, right? So that was fine. I think it was from primary 4 that we started hearing stories. People started telling stories. People that had Juba. Stop it! Yeah. Baby! Yeah? Can you take him away? So people that had elder siblings that had gone to secondary school, came to were telling us stories about, people that went to federal schools, federal secondary schools, how tormenting it can be, how wild it is in federal secondary school. And my parents were already telling me that I was going to go to a federal school. So my first choice was Federal Girls College Petumodu. My second choice was Federal Girls College Oyo. So I can remember all these things. So I think I need to give a bit of a backstory. So I I am just academically, I'm above average. So take for example, if we are maybe 30 in a class, my position will be dangling between 9th to 12th position. So that's where I'll be dancing. I'll be dancing between 9th to 12th position, right? And I was just comfortable. I didn't used to go the extra mile. I don't even think I read in primary school. I just did the basic, the barest minimum. And I think I also want to do a video about, if brilliance is natural or nurtured. Yeah, there's that video I want to do. So I was just a little bit above average, and I was fine. I was comfortable. My parents, especially my father, didn't like it because he knew that I could do more. And I'm like, so when I want to prove a point, so like when I was in primary 5, oh my god, so how do I take this story now? So when I was in primary school, like I said, I'll do like between 9th to 12th position if we are 30 in a class. But my my overall percentage would never be less than 70. So that's how I've always played, and I was comfortable. But my father would be like, no, that's unacceptable, especially because my younger brother, the one after me, is always taking like 1st, 2nd, 3rd position, and they will now be comparing both of us, blah blah blah. Meanwhile, from nursery school to like primary 4, I've always been like maybe the most well-behaved girl or the neatest girl. Those were the prizes I used to collect. In primary 4, after the prize giving day, he really gave me like a very long talk. It was so mean to me. Like, it was so mean to me, like, can't you just be like your brother, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, no problem, I'm going to be like my brother. I'm going to prove to you guys that there's nothing special about my brother. So I'm going to be like my brother and, be 1st, 2nd, 3rd and take the 1st, 2nd, 3rd position. And at the end of primary 5, I took the 3rd position. So I know that I can do more, or I knew that I could do more, but I just didn't want to. Like, it wasn't worth my stress. So brilliance for me is not like natural. I have to work for it. Like, I nurture it. When I nurture it, I see the results, right? But I wasn't in the mood for that. So that's the backstory. So, we got to primary 5. People were telling us stories about how Federal Girls College was so wild that people used to get bullied. Somebody came to say that her sister, they put toothpaste in her private part. Like, just horror stories. And I'm like, why would I want to go to this school? Like, why would I want to carry myself to this type of school? Like, no. My parents should not have the mind to send me to this school. Common entrance is the exam you write to get into secondary school, especially federal schools or state schools. I lived in Ibadan, I schooled in Ibadan, and there were so many good schools, like so many great private secondary schools around the area where my school was, because my school was in Felele. Good schools in Ring Road, like Oritamefa Baptist College, Fola Model, Bola Immaculate, nice schools, private schools that you will go to and come back home every day. I'm like, see, if my parents cannot take me to one of these schools, maybe we should not go to school. So when it was time to write common entrance, I'm like, if I pass this exam, there is no way out. I'm definitely going to go to Federal Girls College, either at Betmodu or Oyo. So what did I do? I got into the exam hall and wrote nothing, guys. I did not write anything. If it was 100 questions, maybe I answered 20. It was terrible. Like, it was so bad. Maybe I answered 20 questions out of 100. Then the result came. Obviously, I failed. My father was so livid. It's like, who fails common entrance? Like, my mom was so embarrassed. Like, how can you fail common entrance? I'm like, whatever. I was forming pretense, like, I don't know, I did my best. It's like, not my best. I didn't do anything, right? So I failed. So obviously, federal secondary school was already cancelled for me like that. So my father schooled in Ogun State, so he has this affiliation with Ogun State. He really likes Ogun State, and then they had a very great secondary school union. This reunion that you do in secondary school. So most of his friends, their children were going to this private school in Abeokuta, which was really good. They were speaking highly of the private school in Abeokuta. So my father said, okay, no problem, there's this private school in Abeokuta that I know, that I've heard of, so you go write the exam, and if you like, fail. If you fail the exam, you're going to be following your mom. So my mom is a teacher. She teaches in a government school, obviously. You're going to be following your mommy to school every morning. I'm like, that's fine. So I wrote the exam for the private school. Obviously, I passed because I'm not dumb. I intentionally failed that one, right? And it was very funny because that primary 5, when I failed common entrance, was when I now got 3rd position overall. Like, I failed common entrance, but here I am getting 3rd position overall. Make it make sense. But yeah, so I passed the private school exam, and obviously in Abeokuta I lived in Ibadan, so I was definitely going to a boarding school. So GSS 1, I was 9. September, yeah, we resumed in September. I was 9. I clocked 10, yeah, the following month. So, but I was small, you guys. I think I was 2nd smallest. Yeah, all of us were actually tiny, but I was actually very small. I was actually very tiny in secondary school. Look at me now. So imagine what I was like 20 years ago. So when I was growing up, another backstory, I was a daddy's girl. Like, my father loved me to bits. Like, daddy's girl through and through. I didn't like my mom growing up. My daddy was my person. So, it was one that took me to school. When we got there, he spoke to the house mistress. He also told the house mistress to recommend a senior student that can look after me. So that's what you call like school mother, blah blah blah. The house mistress recommended an SS1 student. SS1 senior funke. Yeah, senior funke. Handed me over to her, and my father told her that she should please take care of me, blah blah blah. And yeah, that was fine. My daddy cried, I cried, he left, and that was how my journey in boarding school started. I've always been a very quiet person. I'm never the loudest in a room. I might not be the most quiet person, but I'm never the loudest. Like, I'm just always in between. Like, the way my brain works intellectually is how my body functions. Like, I'm just always in between. I never show myself. I don't do all of those things. I think it was maybe this following week, one SS3 student, my original school mother, noticed me, and she called me. She was like, "Oh, I like you, blah blah blah. Do you mind being my school daughter?" I'm like, yes, why not? And she was very nice. Like, she took care of me, and she was a prefect. So she was a prefect SS3, and also I think the following week, another guy saw me. Another SS3 student saw me in the prep class and said, "Oh, how are you?" Blah, blah, blah. Introduced himself. I introduced myself, and he's like, "Oh, so do you mind being my school daughter?" I'm like, "Sure, why not?" So he also was a prefect. GSS1, I was safe. Like, the only punishment I used to serve was corporate punishment. Like, if they punish everybody, but me, if you single-handedly punish me and my school mother sees me, she's going to say, "Who punished you?" Especially if it was now an SS2 student that punished me. She'll say, "Stand up." So I will always stand up. In prep class or outside girls' hostel, my school father, I was a baller. GSS1, I balled, like balled. And so therefore, the SS2 students, they did not like me. And I remember specifically the ones that didn't like me, because every time they would punish me, I will always get a pass. I will always get a free pass. Somebody will say I should stand up. They say, "Oh, that's Blessing school daughter, let her stand up." I'll stand up. "Oh, that's so school daughter, let her stand up." I'll stand up. So that went on and on and on. My school parents, they graduated, and I was promoted to GSS2. So when I got to GSS2 first time, oh my god, that was when it started. The worst 3 months of my life. Yeah, I think so, in secondary school. Like, it was terrible. Like, it was so terrible. Like, every morning I would cry to class. So we used to have this morning duty. Yeah, we used to have morning duty per class. So GSS1 had their morning duty, GSS2, GS3, SS1. I don't think SS2 had morning duty. So now the SS2 students are now in SS3. Our morning duty was to wash the gutter between two dorms. So it's not like a dirty gutter. People used to sit there to chat, to gist. It's very shallow and slopey, right? So you can sit there, brush your teeth, blah blah blah. You just do a lot of things in that shallow gutter. So that was our duty, to wash it every morning. So every time this senior would say we did not wash it well. So in the morning, she would just call some of us. Oh, so who are the people that were supposed to wash this place today? I will be there. Somehow, I will be there. She will now tell us to bring out our fingers like this and use hanger to beat us like 10 strokes or something. Like every morning, I would cry. I would weep to class. There was this particular senior that would give me like what? Maybe 20 naira. She would tell me to buy nice biscuits and a bottle of Coke and bring back 15 naira change. I'm like, how? So I was just using my money to fund seniors. You know, some people, they'll come take my provisions. Like it was a lot of horror things. Like it was a trying time for me. Every time I'll call my father, I'll go to the house mistress, I'll call my dad, and you know, these things are normal. And like I said, I didn't have it as bad because there were just some people that targeted me. So some people had it bad. Like, you know, when everybody's looking at one person. Oh, I pitied those people. I pitied them. It just went on and on and on like that for the next 3 months. And I remember when I went home for holiday, I told my daddy that I wasn't going back, that I was never going to go back to that school. So, meanwhile, my parents were already having like some financial difficulties at the time, but knowing my father, he was going to do anything to just put me through school, right? But me, I'm like, I'm not gonna go back. Oh, that me, I don't want to go back. Like I don't want to go back. So my daddy gave me an option. He gave me 2 options. Is either you go back to school, and you know, honestly, I don't know why parents didn't listen to us in those days. Maybe they just felt like it was a normal thing. That's where you learn. Boarding school is where you grow up, you get to be independent, all of those funny stories. So he said, is either I go back or I follow my mommy to school. Like I said, my mommy teaches in a government school and a government secondary school. So I would follow my mommy to school. So that means I'll be going to a government school. And I said, yeah, that's fine. I'll follow my mommy to school. I'll go to government school. It was so funny. I said, are you sure? I said, yes, I'll go to government school. I'm not going back to that place. At least, so my father said, when will you go back? I said, I'll go back in GSS 3 when these horrible seniors have graduated. So he said, okay, no problem. So I followed my mommy to school for the rest of GSS 2 and GSS 3. I don't know, I just got comfortable. I think my parents got comfortable as well. So I just did GSS 3 also in, the government school. Then SS1, and I went back to write the exam. So I had to write another entrance exam for the same school where I'm coming from in Abeokuta. I had to write the entrance exam. I passed. But something happened, I didn't go back. So I said to him, like, you know what, I'm going back. I don't want to finish my secondary education in a government school. So my father took me back in SS2. So in SS2 now, you're already a senior. Like, SS2 students are the evil people, right? Like, and that's the thing. In all of the stories I've heard, SS2 students are just pure evil. I think because SS3 students, they have exams to write, so they focus on their exams. But SS2 students are just like, we have your time, we're going to show you shiggy. Everything that we suffered, everybody else will suffer. So yeah, so that was fun. The remaining 2 years of my secondary school, amazing. Amazing. It was really, really, really nice. But I vowed that never will my children go to boarding schools ever, because I don't see the point. There is no point, honestly. And of course they'll say, oh, there are some schools now that are reformed, but this school that is trending, where we got all of these stories from in the past week, is a British international school in Abuja, private school. I can only imagine how much they pay in that school, and children are getting bullied. So no matter how reformed you know, they say all the schools are, or the boarding school system is now, I don't think it can be any better. I don't think it can be all that good. Like, it can be. Children will still be traumatized. Children will still be bullied, because teenagers are just, hey, teenagers need to be monitored closely. If not, they are something else. Like, they are something else. I remember when I was in SS2, and you know, that was when my school put a limit to how you can punish students. Like, you can only punish them, tell them to kneel down. There are even some punishment that you cannot give students. If they report you, you're going to get suspended. So you can't even beat. Imagine, you cannot even beat. And some of my classmates were so furious, they were so mad. Like, no. And I feel like that's what happens. Like, everybody is just saying, from maybe GSS1 that they've been suffering, they're like, when I get to SS2, means I will do my own back. So imagine getting to SS2, they now say, you can no longer do that. People were so mad. Me, I didn't care, because me, if I tell you to kneel down, see, kneel down for 5 minutes, but if I leave that place, better stand up, because best believe that I've forgotten you there. So if you like yourself, just stand up and be going. Right? So I mean, it didn't matter to me, but especially the boys in my set, they were so mad. So I can still remember one particular person, actually two. They were so angry. But yeah, that happened, and I'm just like, no, my children can never do this. Like, no way. You go to school every day and come back to me in this house. That is how I want it. That is how it's gonna be. I don't care how beautiful the boarding house is. My children, they're not gonna go. They are not gonna go. Nah. Because I also feel like, imagine I got to secondary school at 9, right? Those are still formative years, especially as a, you know, going into puberty, all of these plenty things. I was still a baby. Most of us were babies. Why is an 8-year-old in boarding school? So I'm just like, nah. My children will come home to me every day when it's time for them to go to college, because I know what I've instilled in them. I know the principles, I know the lessons, I know, you know, all the things that I've taught them all through these years. I know that they can do well, stand alone by themselves in college. But till then, under my roof, by the grace of God. Anyway, so let me know if you have horror stories. Like I said, I had it good. It was fair for me, honestly. Guys, there's this guy, when I was in GSS1, was in SS3, boy, he was so wicked. I think he was the assistant head boy. If you went to my school, you will know him. Was the assistant, yeah, it was the assistant head boy. He was so wicked. Anyway, so when I got to uni, everybody's now big girl, big boy. Maybe my 3rd year or their 2nd, 3rd or 4th year, I can't remember. This guy started asking me out. He had gone to another school, another uni. He had graduated, obviously. You know, he had graduated, he was working. He started asking me out. Every time he would talk to me, those were the only things. I just used to just imagine all the horrible things he did in secondary school. Like, he would tell us to kneel in circles. So these were the corporate punishments. Tell us to kneel in circles, like everybody would kneel to form a big circle, and this guy would take his belt and flog everybody. Like, hey, God. No, you're telling me to be your girlfriend. How? I just used to use him to play, like, you must be joking. You must be kidding me. People need to think of the future when they are acting now. Anyway, so tell me, guys, do you have horror stories? Did you go to boarding schools? Would you let your children go to boarding schools? Let me know in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed this story time of mine. Till next time I come your way. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up. Till next time I come your way, I hope that you do well, and God bless you. Bye, guys.